Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Big Chief channel. Joining you today is myself, your host, Aaron Lee, as well as a familiar face. But before we get to that, I have a surprise for you. Check out my new shirt. Of course, it is the Big Chief t shirt, but I'm not supposed to share this, I think, but we might have an interesting display of shirts coming soon. But anyway, in the meanwhile, let me invite the speaker of today. While we are going to be speaking about a very interesting topic, which I couldn't help myself but ask our speaker so many questions before the show. But without further ado, let's invite Azizan in. Hello, Azizan. How's it going?
Hello, Aaron. How?
How,
Hello,
how?
everyone. Nice to see everyone again this week.
Nice to see everyone too. And
Yep.
today we have a very interesting topic because I'm sure everyone, if you have worked before in your life, or I think you don't even need to work, maybe if you have gone to school or have an education, or generally just mix around is a group of people, you'll always find that one person that you just cannot stand. But not only cannot stand, but it's just a toxic person that influence other people to become toxic also. And what other horrific tragedy would it be in the context of a company? Because as a business owner myself, it is such a pain to, you hire someone and you think that this person is okay, this guy is gonna be my legacy. Yeah, I'm gonna pass the company to this guy when I die. But you hire him, and the next week you find out it's just not what it seems to be. It's like a mismatch of personality on what he said in the interview and how he's acting
Mhm.
now. And
Right.
how do I get rid of this guy? I cannot just like go up to him and say you're fired. He's gonna sue me, right?
Oh yeah. You get sued. You
You
get
get
sued.
sued.
Yeah,
So
and basically it's all about following the law. Yeah, managing within the labor laws. Malaysia has very good labor laws, and it is being updated every so often when situation needs it to be changed or updated or to be amended. So it helps both employer, both employee. But sometimes as we talked about last week. Last week we talked about talent, we talked about people and how to develop people and how to identify correctly people who are not performing and why are the reasons they are not performing. We go to the
yep,
root cause. Well, we don't
yep.
understand, but sometimes managers they always say, hey, Azizan, that guy is not performing. He
Mm-hmm.
he is. There's no other reason. You just say that not performing, and that's it. You need to go to the root cause. But
Yeah.
if you have gone through the root cause, you have identified what are the problems, and the problems are consistently observed over the years that they have worked together, and we had the feeling that I have got so much in my mind about this guy.
Yeah.
This guy, either he goes or I go. Sometimes managers felt like that. So,
Yeah.
making an employee quit, making an employee resign voluntarily is a way, is a way more difficult than hiring an employee. Yeah. Yeah, but what we're going to talk tonight is simple ways to get a toxic employee. Okay, toxic employee. Yeah, it's not just employee who has just went and a one-off thing. This one is consistently toxic, consistently underperforming. Simple ways to get these people to resign on their own, to
Mm.
voluntarily resign. There are many ways. I can give you about 50 ways on how to do it. But because of the time tonight, we probably share one, two, or three, or four, or five different ways. So
Let,
you see,
let me
when
guess.
I
Let me
talked
guess.
about talks,
You're gonna make it very hard for them to stay. You make
All
them
right.
do
Yeah.
things, make them do, you know, that they don't like.
That is one way. And that is
Oh yeah.
probably at the number one level. Number one
Oh.
level. It takes a lot of effort by senior employees or by the boss of the team to train employees. We have trained people, we have spent a lot of time, but then eventually they're still not performing. And they are
Mm.
still very toxic and they're still negative on the job. So we need to make sure that we know when we need to take action within the confines of the law. Yeah,
Of course.
it's also very important. Yeah, very important that uh, once they find the employee is no more needed uh, or underperforming, naturally the pressure builds to decide whether to
Mm-hmm.
have them in the team or have them out of the team, guys.
Yep.
If it's easy to do a domestic inquiry, but having domestic inquiry, it takes a lot of time, and then some managers are not prepared to do a domestic inquiry. You need to be trained. In most cases, managers try to keep them as much as they can, keep
Mm.
these people, these toxic employees, as much as they can. But when dragging it too long, it brings negative vibes, in the
Mm.
team to stop doing their best. It affects the whole team. And rather feel to relax like and the underperforming employee. So you need to make sure that you take action as fast as possible. So let's get on to how to get rid of these toxic employees, guys. How to get rid of the toxic employees. Are you guys
I
ready?
can't wait. I can't wait. But really
Right.
quick, just wanted to welcome
Yeah.
Patricia, Christine, Michael,
Right.
as well as all the others who are viewing us right now. Welcome in. Also, Andrew Richards. Let's not forget that guy.
All
Please
right.
carry on.
Welcome, guys.
Carry on.
Welcome, guys. All right. Welcome, guys. Whenever you come across an underperforming employee, last week we talked about underperforming, the different types of uh, four different reasons why people don't perform, can't do, won't do, don't know how to do, and excessive interference. But whenever you come across an underperforming employee, consistently underperforming and giving you a lot of headache in your team or your organization, the best way to deal with them is confront them, is to confront the problem, confront the issue, yeah,
Mm.
confront the employee. But not many managers can do it. Instead, they take it lightly. They try to sweep it under the carpet. So doing so will surely
What,
displeasure the other
sorry.
employees who are performing. Yeah, go
Why do
ahead.
you think that they do that? Is it, are they scared of the confrontation?
Basically, sometimes managers, not all managers. Many managers are good, but some managers, they don't know how to say. They don't know how to deliver bad news.
Mm.
Yeah? They don't know how to say no. Yeah, and it's always to them is they have too much of feelings about employee.
Mm.
Guys, we are managing businesses, whether it's our business or we are working for someone else. We have the responsibility to deliver. What are
Mm.
we delivering? We are delivering results, and we measure results. Managers or leaders are not being assessed for being nice. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
your boss assess you. Your assessment by your boss is not Azizan is nice, good, 100%. No, it's all about results. Yeah, it's all about results. We are being assessed for results. So how do you deal with such employees? How do you deal with such employees? Yeah, and basically before we do things, before we talk to employee, before we confront them, number one, we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared. Yeah, this is not about HR. This is about leaders in sections, leaders in department. You need to be prepared. What are you need to be prepared about is number one is have the detailed background of the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, previous history, performance history. Number two, talk to HR. Talk to the people who knows the law. Yeah, discuss the expectation and performance, and you know and then you start looking at some of the things that you can do. Yeah. Okay. How to make employee? I don't want to say quit, but how do you want to make employee feel the pressure that you want them to perform better? Yeah. And these are the things that you can do to persuade. Yeah. To in a nice way, we call it to persuade employees to leave the organization.
Mhm.
But very
But
careful, guys. You need to
I
talk to
want to
HR.
clarify that
Yeah.
of course the intention is a good intention. We want them to be
Right.
better version of themselves, right? But
Correct.
by doing
Right.
that, we're also pressuring them in a way that if they cannot do, they would be inclined to resign, right?
Mm-mm. Right, right, right. I mean, there's only one way that they can do is, leave the organization. So
Hmm.
what can you do, guys? Number one is you need to handle tighten the time limit on projects. So tighten the time limit on projects. Give them assignment. The projects can be their day-to-day job. The day-to-day job. How do you tighten the limit for the project? You tighten them
Mm.
in terms of the time to deliver. Yeah, time to deliver. Be specific. I want you to deliver this by the end of the day. I want you to deliver this by tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Yeah, you are monitoring their performance. Yeah, you are tracking their performance. Yeah, and you make sure you very clear on the timing. Yeah, very clear on the timing. A few weeks ago, I talked about DESA. I don't know what you guys remember DESA. When you have an employee, you have a problem, how do you face with the employee? Desa, you describe, you express, you state, and your aim. Yeah. Desa, describe, express, you state, your aim. So if you guys have forgotten it, why don't you go through our videos and you try to look for the discussion on the Desa. Yeah, discussion Desa, because it's
I
very
think two
useful.
weeks ago.
Because 2 weeks ago. So when you talk to the individual, you are prepared. You're prepared.
Hmm.
So now tighten all the time on the project. Tighten all the time on the project. This is one easy way to put pressure. Yeah, an easy way to put pressure. It's all about putting pressure and to make them, leave possible if possibly. Assign as many projects as possible also with very less time limit. Yeah, very less time limit. Yeah, this will indirectly create pressure on them and make them feel like, wow, what is my boss doing? What is my boss doing? I'm going to quit. So it's all about getting them to feel the pressure and feel like quitting.
Hmm.
Yeah, sometimes, if we're not talking about just the people who are in the lower levels of the organization. They are easy. Yeah, we are talking about people who may be a manager, a senior executive, a general manager if you were the MD.
Oh,
Yeah, and
GM
sometimes
also can kena.
G can kena, can kena. The board also can do this on the MD, managing director. Yeah, so it goes it works in all categories. So
Mhm.
very important, because when we are working at a higher level in the organization, it's no more about 8 hours, guys. It's
Right.
no more 8 hours. It's not 12 hours. Sometimes we work 20 hours, guys. We sleep 4 hours. Sometimes we work more 18 hours.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is expected. And we are not being even paid overtime. But then
Right.
again, you need to perform. But the rewards by the end of the day, in terms of increment, in terms of bonuses, are very good. They compensate it. Yeah, compensate it. But if you are an underperforming, you are a toxic manager within the organization, as the general manager or managing director, I would put pressure on you. Yeah, I will give you a lot of things to do and with a very limited time limit. How would you guys feel? Yeah, these are all legal things that you can do. Yeah,
Of
these are
course.
all legal things that you can
But
do. Yeah.
what if at this point, what if at some point,
Mm-mm.
you're trying to put pressure, right?
Right.
And finally, the employee
Mm-mm.
that you have been putting pressure, comes to
Mm-mm.
you and they finally express to you that,
Mhm.
boss, I want to stay here, but
Okay,
I cannot take all this pressure.
right.
Now
But-
they want to see what they can do, right? Like it
Okay,
slip around already.
all right. Okay, now we go back to the DESA. Describe, express, uh, state, and also your aim. You go back. If you want to change, we would look at it together, and I will support you to become a more effective employee. Guys, it's not just about getting rid of people in organization. We lose money when people leave organization. We lose money when the position is vacant. So we need to make sure that we turn these people around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we turn these people around. But if they are consistently, and underperforming, and they don't want to change, then there's no. In HR, in my world, we call it a one-way street. When you meet
Right.
with HR, and then it's a one-way street. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, one
Sure,
minute.
sure, sure.
My I forget to put my
Charger.
cable. So, oh, luckily, 10%, guys. So
Almost lost you there.
almost lost me. Then I would quit next week, this week, and then won't see me next week
All
because of
right.
pressure. So,
Too
guys,
much
very
pressure.
important. Right. The other thing that you can do is, if people say they want to change, yes, we give them the benefit of the doubt. We give them a second chance. Everybody deserves a second chance. But if they don't change, you keep doing that to them. Pressure. Second thing that you need to do is micromanage. You
Mm.
micromanage them. You keep an eye on them very closely. I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Yeah? Every few hours, you go by, Azizan, how's the project that have you been working on? At what level are you right now? I
Any
expect it to
updates?
be any updates. I expect it to be sent to me by end of the day. So those are something that you can do.
Can you give
Keep
me
an
an
eye
hourly
on them.
report?
Right? Yeah, it's true. It's true. An hourly report. Yeah, and basically visiting their desk 10 times a day will surely make them feel frustrated. Yeah, surely make them feel frustrated. Keep an eye on the employee about what they do in public also, so that they feel irritated to work anymore. Even
Mm.
though outside of their normal working hours in the cafeteria, you see them, you always look at them, always keep an eye on them. And then when you looked at them, you don't smile. You looked at them, it's
You
like being
purposely sit beside them.
you purposely beside sit them and just well looked at them. Yeah, even though they are eating, sometimes it's very cruel, but these are things that we have to do. Yeah, it may look like micromanagement, and no one's want to survive in such an environment uh, where they are watched every single step. Yeah, guys,
Right,
but
of course.
this is something you need to do. Because why you need to micromanage? You want to make sure that the project that you want them to do is being delivered. Delivered, number one, is right the first time. Right the first time. Number two is delivered with speed. Yeah, deliver with speed. And number three is make sure that there is no wastage. So you can
Mm.
put all these things, everything together into justification on why you are micromanaging them and why you are putting pressure on them. Yeah,
But quick question. Um,
right,
if you micromanage your employees, right, wouldn't
right.
it take up a lot of your energy to do that? As a
Yeah,
manager, you have so many other people to look at.
yes, that's true. That's true. But you don't have to worry about the rest of the team members. They are working effectively. You are just looking at this one individual.
Of
Yeah,
course.
within the organization, one individual. But what if you have a group of people, guys? I have two or three people in your same organization. You rearrange them, their sitting arrangement. Let them sit very closely to each other.
Mm.
So when watching one person, you can watch all three individuals at the same time.
You
Yeah,
streamline your micromanagement.
right. Guys, yeah, sometimes it's very, very tough. Sometimes, they can say that, hey, my boss is a slave driver. But, everybody has a reason in why they do things, and it's all about if I don't manage you well, then it will reflect back on me as your boss. So it's very important that I keep an eye on you and I make sure that either you deliver or my way or the highway. Let's put
Right.
it that way. Yeah, my way or
Right.
the highway. Let's put it that way, right? And okay, the other thing that you can do, guys, is it is number three. Yeah, number three. Yeah, number one is putting pressure. Yeah, tighten the time limit for projects. Number two is make them feel that keep an eye on them and more visible to them. Yeah, keep an eye on them, making them more visible. You put them under microscope, or you call it micromanagement. And number three is give maximum number of instructions to tighten their freedom.
Mm.
Yeah, give maximum instruction to tighten their freedom. Give them a lot of things to do. One of the things that Aaron mentioned is, you probably come back to me every hour to tell me what you're doing, who you call, what are the email before you send any email. Make sure you copy them to me. Any email, yeah, you copy them to me because my reason would be is I want to make sure that the email is have a positive tone to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's very important,
Mm-hmm.
very important. Yeah, and sometimes in office also when you talked about getting them to uh, you know uh, giving instructions and so freedom, it's try holding maximum number of meetings, as much
Mm.
meetings with the employee with whom you want to, I won't want to say it, but I have to say it, with whom you want to make them quit. This will make them
Mm.
distract from doing work, as well as make them feel they are being given a lot of instructions on how to do a project, to proceed a project, and so forth. So, keep them always occupied, tighten their freedom. Anyone will want to work in a peaceful environment rather
Of
than being
course.
surprised, supervised like a school kid. So, this is one thing that we have to do. The other thing
Yeah.
that you can do, guys, in within your organization, sometimes some organization they allow Facebook, social media, employees to access them,
Mm-hmm.
using the company computers and so forth. Now you limit everybody's social media only after office hours, before or after office hours. I did this in my previous organization when I was working about 10 years ago. And that's when the Facebook started. Everybody was on Facebook. But then again, the handphones that we have are not smartphones like you have right now. Previous handphone, I just call, SMS, and that's it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can always look at social media on their own. That's okay, no problem. But again, as I mentioned, get the maximum of instruction to tighten their freedom. To tighten their freedom. They don't have time to look at Facebook. But sometimes you allow them, at the end of the day, for them to update their Facebook, they would say, "My boss is a slave driver. My boss is a SOB. My boss, we
Uh-huh.
will tell his friend and so that." Yeah. So these are some of the things that you do. But you need to do it, guys. You need to do it if you have a very toxic employee. Yeah, you need to have to do it. And sometimes also, if it makes very difficult, also, I don't do this as often, but sometimes, I see some managers do it. I know managers have been trained on how to handle toxic people. And what do? They have favorites. Yeah,
Oh.
they have favorites. Yeah, in the organization, they purposely have someone that they will say as my favorite. You know,
Ah,
no employees would like to see their managers giving special attention to
treatment.
other co-workers. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they always felt that managers should treat everybody the same. But when you
Mm.
have a toxic employee, maybe it's a good idea to have a favorite. Yeah, even though you do not have such a habit of having favorites in your team, try showing them in front of you that you have special ones in the office in them. How can you do it? You say, hey, Azizan, that's a that's what you did yesterday was excellent. Good job. Well done, Azizan. And always show it to the public. And make sure that these people uh, sees and hear what you say about the individual that you are praising. Yeah. So this will make them feel, like my boss is focusing on one individual or his favorite, and this will make them feel unnoticed, and it may result them that I might as well angkat kaki lah, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Move on, yeah. The other thing that you can do is, we have talked about probably about what four, five, four. The
Oh,
other thing
I
that you can
actually,
do, yeah,
sorry, just really quick. Just now
right,
you mentioned Facebook, and I suddenly thought of
right,
a question, right?
right,
Is it
right.
legal to,
Mm-mm.
let's say, use, like, since now people are more in tune with social media, would it be
Right.
an option to use that against people? So let's say you notice that this toxic employee, after working hours, you see that he always goes to the bar or always goes to somewhere lah, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you, maybe you can use that against him. You could say something like, hey, I notice after work you are always doing this. Um, you should instead be improving yourself and doing something for the company. Would that be too much?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Basically, guys, we are trying to limit our our activities. Our trying to limit the areas that we worked on this individual when they are at work. We don't want to affect our own life, also our work life, also outside of work. And
Correct.
also, I mean, they have their own private life. We respect their private life. But
Hmm.
sometimes it's also it's good, but not always lah. It's
You want to
sometimes
keep it
to also
professional.
to yeah, and sometimes we also what we call it. I forget what the term is. We don't want to scan other people's Facebook or all these things. It's not professional, but sometimes you can sort of like
But
just
doesn't a lot of
see.
HR do that when, especially during recruitment, scanning
In
through
recruitment,
people's
yes, we
profile?
do. Yeah,
Okay.
in recruitment, yes, we do, because we want to see what kind of individual that we would be talking to in interview, what kind of
Mm-hmm.
background. We don't want a person to be so very politically inclined when they
Mm.
come into the organization. I used to have employees who they have worked many years in the organization, and they become the youth leader of a party, guys,
Oh.
in the division, not this the state, but in a small division. But that is also an impact, a pressure to the management also, because
Right.
if he yeah so
People can say, "Oh,
uh,
you guys are supporting this party."
right. But you need to have, we need to have a policy on that also. We need to develop policies on that. So
Correct.
whatever is being done, even having to do with politics, out. Yeah. But again, yeah, out. But again, guys, you must remember, why we need to look at Facebook before they recruit. We need to look at their motivation also. Yeah,
Mm.
we need to look at their temperament also, these guys. Yeah, so we need to look at also their fit within the organization. So it's very important that we try to understand these people before we wrongly recruit them. So we need to make sure we are prepared.
True.
So very important.
True.
So sometimes probably when someone applied for jobs in your organization, when they come for the interview, they will hand you a letter. By the way, sir, this is a letter from the Yang Berhormat. supporting me to work within the organization. I used
Right.
to get letters from Tun Abdullah Badawi also supporting individual.
Wow.
What I did was, okay, thank you very much. I just put it aside. Yeah, we don't say much, guys, but out of respect, we just put it aside. But that does not carry a bearing on anything.
Right. You
It's
just
all
stay
about
indifferent about it and
right.
accept
It's
what they
all
have, right?
it's all qualification, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Qualification. It's not this. You know what this is?
Mm.
This is. You know what this is,
Mm-hmm.
Aaron?
Skin.
Kulitification.
Qualification. Right, right, right. That's a good one.
So HR is colorblind. Yeah, colorblind. Whatever party you belong to, as long as you can work, as long as you can help me with my bonus, the company profitability this year, then
On.
I on open arms to welcome you into the organization.
Awesome. By the way, I just noticed that we actually crossed our time limit.
Oh,
Uh, do we have more actually? Maybe we can save it for the next week.
oh yeah, you have more. You have more.
We can
But
have a part two next week.
yeah, let's talk and continue next week and some of the things that you can do also.
Yeah,
By the end of the day, this is all trying to turn a person around.
of course, of
Hopefully,
course.
what we do is turn the person around to become a better employee.
Of
Right?
course, of course.
Right, right.
Anyway, we'd like to say thank you to all the viewers for sticking around with us throughout this whole episode. I hope it was interesting for you guys, even if maybe some of you, an employee yourself, you can discover these are actually some of the tricks that your employees use against you. Hopefully, you guys are okay. But anyway, without further ado, once again, thank you to the audience. We are live every 8:30 GMT plus 8 every weekdays. And do remember to like, share, subscribe wherever you are in the big wide world. Thank you very much and hope you have a lovely day, night, or evening ahead. How everyone, and goodbye.